we have some really great stories to share.
I'm going to start with you, Gab, because one of the most radical examples of healing that I've ever seen was when you were involved in a water park accident in Corfu in 2004. And we had gone with Brandon, with you, with Cliff, with my son and my nephew to this water park. And you guys had gone on a water slide, which was extremely dangerously designed. And as you and Brandon slid down, she took a bump at the bottom where this tube turned into some kind of concrete obstruction. And she took a bump, but you took a full-blown knock to the head at high speed. The first I heard was like mobile phone, Gaby's been injured, come to the entrance to the park. And Brandon walked you over, and my stomach was churning before I saw you. And when I saw you, I've got to tell you, it's like I felt sick. You were hobbling. Brandon was half dragging, half carrying you. And with this bump to the head, your head had expanded. You looked like you had a boxer's training helmet on, but it was your own skin. Your head was so enlarged with the fluid that was already building up. You looked like you could die. And Brandon took charge and took you to the ambulance, and Cliff and I and the boys followed in a car, and we were just praying all the way. But as we were praying, what Brandon related was she was doing journey work with you, because what we've seen over the years is that at the point of impact or the point of an accident where something goes wrong and impacts the body, there is a shock and there is some fear, some deep emotions get stirred up and brought to the surface instantly. And particularly at an early stage, if you can roll the cameras back in your mind to the point of impact and stay open to the emotions, so stay open to the fear. And often with big accidents like this, it can be fear of death. It's, oh my God, I'm going to die. And Brandon did this with you in the ambulance on a 20 or so minute ambulance ride. And she rolled the cameras back. She accessed the emotions that you were feeling immediately before the impact, on impact, after impact, and took you into a journey opening, a drop through of the emotions so that you let all of them flood through your body until there's nothing left, until there's just spacious awareness. So instead of shutting down, instead of bracing against, instead of freezing in the face of emotions, open and open. She did this with you for 20 minutes in the ambulance. And when you got out of the ambulance after that 20 minutes, we saw you and your head had already, the swelling had gone down by, I want to say 2/3. I couldn't believe it. You already looked clearer. And just to look at you, you looked as if something extraordinary was shifting in a healing way inside you. And I know you were admitted to hospital overnight, and they found that you'd actually created a fracture, and they thought it might have been from a previous accident. They weren't really sure. But you healed in an extraordinarily quick time. And we thought you were likely to die. With the impact of the blow, the results of that can be absolutely traumatic. And with the physical symptoms that you had, I thought you were going to be in hospital for a couple of weeks. And as I remember it, you stayed in overnight. They let you out at the end of the next day. And the healing was fluid, was quick, was absolutely extraordinary. So yeah. I'm sure you remember that. What was your experience from the inside out?
Oh, man, Kevin, that it actually later on, quite some time after, it could have been years after, I did a journey process at one of our events, and this issue came up. And it really became clear that if Brandon hadn't been there, I wouldn't have survived the event. That was like as clear as anything. It was that dangerous. And the other thing that happened was actually what happened was in this tube where we came out was concrete. Yeah. It wasn't even metal, it was concrete. And we were sitting in a little plastic boat. And as we came out of the tube, a wind gush came from underneath and turned the little boat to its side. Yeah. So Brandon got hit also, but lighter. and I got the full whack, and then we came out. And so that was how the incident happened.
Right.
And I don't remember much from the trip to the hospital.
I'm
And
sure.
what I also remember is I had an X-ray taken, or the hospital took an
Yes.
X-ray, and I put that away. I didn't even look at it, and I picked it up a year later. And what actually happened, because we came out of hospital 24 hours later, 3 days afterwards, we drove somewhere. I think
Yeah.
we drove to eat, and there was quite a bumpy road. This bumpy road actually caused the blood. There was a huge blood clot up at the top of my head, and the blood kept coming down, and the swelling and everything was pretty much gone in the overnight time at the hospital. They just kept
Yeah.
me in for
Yeah.
observation. But the blood and the
Yes.
bruise under
Yeah.
my eyes, that kind of stayed on for quite some time.
I remember that. Yeah.
And I saw in the X-ray that there was a huge blood clot in the center of my head. So even that, the fact
Yeah.
that we drove on this bumpy road to release the blood and let it come down
Yes.
was healing it itself.
Once that bruise was coming out and moving, we could see
Yeah.
that there was, or that was a signal of the healing that was taking place so radically.